All right, guys, welcome back to Hobson's Choice Harleys. We're back playing around in the garage today. Just got back yesterday from the Ozark Mountain Rumble Rally. It was an incredible rally. Had a really good time. Got to ride the back roads of the Ozarks. Continuing to work on the 81 FLT. We've sold the pipes. I've sold the saddlebags. I sold the tour pack. Actually donating to the tank to a guy in South Dakota. Work with veterans. They build bikes and then crushed up parts. So this tank is all crushed. I just donated it. They make mailboxes and do some really cool stuff. And this guy does this all nonprofit for the vets. So anything I can ship out to him at cost, or basically I just have him pay shipping. Super nice guy. I'll tag him in our next video and get some information out. He's actually got a house right there in Sturgis in South Dakota that he's opening up for the Harley-Davidson flea market. During the rally in August, the guys can come by and sign that they've been there. Super nice guy. I believe his name's Ron. We've done a few things. So working on that, still tearing this down if ever anyone wants it. Like we talked in our last video, we've got this rolling chassis, the jammer frame torn down. This was the old Knucklehead platform. And we've shifted gears over here to the new Knucklehead platform, which is the Hallmark frame. And if you look over here, I just got yesterday a old school style. It's a mid-USA 18-inch stock length Springer. The thing that's cool about it is I can retrofit a newer style caliper on there. So that's a 4-piston caliper on an 11.5-inch rotor. So we're going to fit that to it. I have this 16-inch wheel dual flange. Not sure if I'm going to use that. I'm kind of contemplating taking this, which I believe at some point was on a Fat Boy. It's a Fat Boy wheel, and it's a 16x3, and it has the 11.5-inch rotor. So I'm thinking of, if nothing else for now, running it because it's got a brand new tire on it. At least I could stick it on there and run the machine. But a lot of that's going to be determined on the width of the axle spacers and so forth needed on both. If you look here on this one, if I run this caliper enough to clear everything, I'm actually... So off center, I'm only, well, it's about 3/8 of an inch. See, I'm 3/8 of an inch closer here than here. And that's just eyeballing it until I get it up on the frame and see where I'm at. And I don't mind if the wheel's off center a little bit to make room for the calipers, but I got to make sure that everything clears, nothing hits the rocker bolts. So the wheel's still to be determined. First thing I got to do is get these neck cups on it. So I bought brand new neck cups, bearings, dust shield, water shields. So all that's got to go on first. So I'm going to get up here on the lift. I'm going to try and convince these to go in with just some taps. And hopefully I don't have to carry the whole thing out. I do have a big hydraulic press outside that I can press bearings and stuff with. Let me see if we can do it old school manual. That's kind of the plan here next. And I'm not sure what I'm going to beat on it with. Ugh. So I'm trying to work in a circle so I don't get it in there sideways. Well, all of that, she didn't even go in at all. All right, so let's try something else. Let's try tap, tap, tap. She's going. She's close. So let's see. Let me get down off of here. So we got just, I don't know if you can tell, there's about a 1/16 of an inch there. But actually she went in pretty good. And I'm kind of debating whether to powder coat this frame black or just paint it. So I'll probably powder coat it because it's bulletproof. But when I do that, I got to make sure they mask off these races. They've got to put plugs in anything threaded. They have to do these mount surfaces where your motor mounts. None of that. You can't have powder coat under your engine mount, your tranny mount. It will make all kinds of slippage issues because the powder coat is actually like ceramic when it's cooked. So I have to figure that out, and I need to ask my guy. So when I did Softail Sally, I had a bunch of stuff powder coated, and the powder coat has almost doubled since the last bike I built. So in 2020 to 2023, well, my years are off. So 2023, it has doubled from 2021 when I built my Panhead. So I don't know what it's going to cost to get this thing powder coated. That's a big piece of surface. So I bet you it's going to be $300 or $400 to do that frame. Probably worth it, but I still haven't got to the point I'm sure that's what we're going to do yet. All right, so we're going to leave that. If I have to, like I said, I can pull both of these together with a big bolt and a wrench. So that, unfortunately, was probably the easy one. This one from underneath is going to be more of a challenge. If you get it started straight, he says. Okay. So this plate was actually the motor plate that came to keep the shipping on the frame straight. So I'm just using it for a beater. And I'm upside down and can't quite tell what I'm doing here. A good way to smack my finger. Boy, just can't get to a place where I can hit it the way I want to hit it. Seems to be going straight. Phew. So that plate's working, but that plate also weighs about 12 pounds. I'm trying to hold that upside down and swing a hammer. It's about going to kill me, but that's what I got. So let's see. We're about halfway in. That hold from your side with your empty hand. Just keep it nice and flat. Woohoo! All right, so that's in like Flynn. So just for giggles, we're gonna see what we got here. 7 to the curve. So basically I'm measuring to the kerf of that chamfer, and we're right at 7 inches, which I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, that one's at 7. That one's pretty close. Let's go over and measure that old chopper frame and see where that one's at. So from the top of the dust shield, yeah, 7 inches. We got to be pretty close. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and dry fit that front end in here and see what she looks like. Okay, so we got our bottom cup, our bearing race down here, doing our bearings here. And we were just talking off camera that yes, this all has to be packed, these bearings, but it's not like a wheel bearing that's going to be going a million miles an hour. So all of this turns, but your handlebars only go to the left and right a few degrees, you know, so there's not a lot of movement on these bearings. And typically when you're riding, you're leaning more than you're doing anything else. So I'm going to pack that one. And then I'm going to pack this one in grease, and we're going to set it to the side because we're about ready to feed this up in here. And I'm so optimistic that everything's going to be fine that I'm packing the bearings now, because that means everything is going to fit where it needs to fit. So I'm going to have this one packed and ready to go in the hole. And then I'm going to pull these greasy gloves and throw them right in the trash. So my hope is that I can leave that wheel, and I don't know if that's the final wheel, but if I can leave it on there and slide it up in there without too much wiggle and jiggle, we'll see. So how close are we? We got to open this way up. All right. All right. Okay. Here's the fun part. Without kicking any of the pretty stuff off on the floor, I'm going to get up here. I'm going to lift this. Okay. Do me a favor walking around. I'm going to pick this up. Drag that red thing out from under the frame. No? No? Okay. Okay, so there we go. Let's just leave it sit there, as precarious as that is. If you guys look up under here, you can see that bearing is not quite in. See how the whole thing has to go up about 1 inch. So my plan is, and I might need the camera guy's assistance, is I'm going to try and put this board underneath it. So I'm going to pick this up and then see if that board will slide underneath it. There we go, under the wheel. Okay, well, that ain't too far from beautiful. Okay, so then we'll put our top bearing in. Okay. Greasy, grimy stuff everywhere. Okay. So my hope is by putting this on here, I'm getting a wrench on here, I can suck everything up into place. And then it will all have to come off for the painting of the frame. But just like we've said before, everything gets dry fit first. Okay. All right, guys, so we're trying to get this front end in. I just did a review. So up top, this is a dust collector or a dust shield. This actually goes over your bearing race, keeps any dirt from going down in there. Underneath, there's one that the bearing sits on. If you see, it goes inside the bearing race. That way water and stuff flows out and doesn't collect in there. And then around on this side, so I had to buy the whole kit. If you come around over here, I am a V-twin dealer, which is very cool, but I ended up buying this mid-USA front end. I've used them on several bikes and I like them. So I had to buy that bearing kit that we were just talking about. So it's the cups, it's the bearings, it's the dust shield, and it came with everything. So it came for your standard triple trees, which would also have the nut to tighten it down, and this washer with the tab that goes into the triple trees, and then your top nut. So it came with all that. These parts won't get used because I'm doing a springer. So the springer actually has the cap nut, and then you have your, this goes over the top to locate everything, and your risers go in here for your handlebars. So it's a little different setup when you're taking, basically I had to buy the whole kit because I wanted the dust shield and everything. And you can buy the cup separate, you can buy the bearing separate, you can buy the dust shield separate, but you end up spending less than buying the whole kit. And then I've got extra parts. Of course, I've probably got 10 of all of those, but you never know. So I've got this on here. What I'm going to try and do is get up here with the socket and see if I can just compress all this down because I'm about 1/4 inch from where I need to be. So I'm going to get up here and try and do this manually. I might have to fire up the compressor, but we'll see. So how many of you guys still use this old brace and bit setup? Probably not too many. You know what we're going to do? Reach in that drawer behind you and grab a ratchet, bottom drawer, stick it on that socket and crank this up in the air. You're going the right way. So what you're doing is you're lifting the whole front end of the bike up. Go ahead and turn it about 4 turns. Keep going. Just keep going. I'll let you know when you're tired. Okay, so what I've done there is I've taken all the tension off the front end. That way if I hit the frame here, let's see if I can get a couple more cranks on it. And it's nice because this lift is wide and solid. So I can stand up here and it's solid. See, I can bounce around. This is a really cool lift. It's a Black Widow lift. There are nicer lifts, but I don't know. This is, for the money, you can't go wrong. And this one has the 18-inch outriggers on either side. So I could drive the Servi-Car up here. I could put a 4-wheel, what do they call them, razors or whatever. Okay, so if you look, kind of cool. See the flat spots here and the flat spots here? Boom. Those are fork stops. So that's made to, you know, pretty close standards. And you can see my dust cover came right over the cap here and it sucked this in here. I still have a little bit of space here. So I'm probably going to end up, when I take the front end off before I go to powder coat, I've got a long bolt that I put in here with the washer and I can hit it with my impact and suck those in just a little bit more. But it's close. And you can see I've got enough threads to get my top cap on. I'm going to take a little bit of tension off of it, he says, just because it turns real hard and it shouldn't. There we go. There, see how it flows there? That's what we want. And then maybe we'll come back a little bit. Okay. And again, first fit is dry fit. There we go. So there we know it's going to work. It's going to undulate the way it's supposed to. This is your top replacement top tree, and you see they're pinch bolts. So when you tighten those, it pinches against this and makes sure nothing moves. And that goes down just like that. And if that's the same size, it should be. See, so that's tightening against that, not against this. So when you tighten that, and I'm just snugging it for now, your undulation or your movement here is good. And then we're in like Flynn, man. That's the front end. And if we look over here, the distance off the deck is about right. You know, by the time it's got its tire on, she's going to sit just about like she sits there. And if you ask me, that looks like a knucklehead. So keep watching, guys. We'll keep playing. We'll keep adding to. We appreciate everybody watching and commenting. And after this, we got a couple projects next here on the hit parade. We're either going to drill holes and hang our big old fancy sign, or we've got the cases for the 41 sitting over here. Everything is done machining on those. We might pull out the Gliptol and do the Gliptol painting and get that on film. So stay tuned. All right, you guys made it to the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please kickstart that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, comment what you guys think. Let me know if you have any suggestions for video ideas or topics you guys want covered, and I'll do my best to include those in my next projects. You guys can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, don't forget to check out the Beacons link in the description below. See you next time.